Beautiful people, what is up? Welcome back to episode 181 Sunday Sessions with Rich podcast. If you're new to my show, welcome. You can find me on Spotify, Apple, and YouTube, and wherever else you find podcast episodes. I'm really super excited about this episode. These two amazing souls. We've been wanting to do this, I think, start planning about a month or two ago, but it's finally coming to fruition. We have Steph, creative art from the heart and a passion for the feminine. And we have Sarah, the feminine arts muse of medicine, and also Oracle of Christ. Wonderful ladies, wonderful sisters. Welcome to the show again.
Yes. Thank you so much for the space and for having us. I really loved you reading our the bio clips because it's like, oh yeah, the wave me and Sarah are on. It's so beautiful to be able to meet in this space. And I'm like, I feel like we planted this for a long time, more than a month. Like that
I
was
feel like it
like
was earlier
a
this
year.
year? Like earlier
It was
this
like
year?
before you moved.
Yeah, it was. Oh,
It was a
that's
long time
crazy.
ago.
Wait, that was.
We're in some weird time vortexes though now where I'm literally like being like, what's up? What's up?
Damn, that is true.
Where's now?
Yeah.
Because I think it started with, because I know the idea happened, I think Sarah, me and you had our podcast. Guys, so I'll drop the links to Sarah and Steph's episode below the description. But I always want to give you guys your flowers. If you don't mind, let us know who you are and the amazing things you got going on.
Are you saying me first, Steph?
Yeah.
Sarah, you're first.
Okay. Yeah, my audio is like a little slow, so if I'm off, it's because I can't.
Oh,
like
no
I'm not
worries at
catching
all.
Okay. Yeah, oh my gosh, I am just so happy to be here. Like I can feel the realness here, and so I'm feeling it as it's happening. This is magic unfolding in lifetime. Yeah, my name is Sarah, and I am just really here to talk about love. Like I love this podcast because I feel like I can just be real. I can just be myself. And like, I'm just a cosmic being who's here to share love. And it's like, yeah, it's funny. It's like, yeah, usually people talk about like their businesses. This is what I do to make money. And it's like, I have that. I actually don't even feel like talking about that. I just want to be real and be like, yeah, hey, what's up? You can find me on X at Alien Here to Love, and there's a link tree. You can go there, follow your heart, use the digital space with your heart. Use the frequency of like what feels aligned with you to navigate the digital space. And I feel like I just have to say that because we're entering this new era where it's like we have the tools within to shift all of this. So that was like not even answering the question, but like
No, that does answer the question.
okay.
Yeah. No,
Yeah,
it flowed beautifully, Sarah. Flowed beautifully. Yeah. And who am I? I mean, I definitely am. I'm just like the artist lifestyle. I'm definitely a creator of art from the heart. My crystal babies. I mean, I kind of can't say me without my crystal babies. Like it's just, you know, been part of my journey. That was the first step of my journey. Well, not really. It was very quick though. Go to Richard's old episode on me, hear my story. But crystals were, since the beginning in my childhood. And it feels like an honor to be able to, well, Chelsea, Richard's wife, has my jewelry. Sarah has my jewelry. It just is an honor to have. Exactly. It's so beautiful to create from my heart. It feels so raw, which I know you're entrepreneurs and creators can relate to. It feels so raw to put what you like, you're bleeding inspiration now. And like, you're like, yes, this is the best piece. And then it's like, but you always have faith it's going to where it goes. So I am a creator from the heart with crystal babies. So definitely I'm honored to create for anybody. That's like my main hub. But yeah, I'm so passionate about the feminine. I'm so passionate about destigmatization for definitely specifically the feminine path as a woman, but also we need to integrate and come together for us all. I'm a domestic violence advocate, and I do bring the healing work into the shelters twice a month, as long as things go as planned, and hold circle spaces where it's just, make some handout. I make, just bringing that to that world. So I mean, it's just who am I? I mean, these are my passions. Like us all are my passions, honestly. And like the realness, as Sarah said, it's just like, can we just unpack together? And I'm just a fan of the real.
Yeah.
The real.
This is passionate. I want to, before we dive into um everything, we had a taboo we was talking about with the marijuana, the good green, the broccoli. I'm a pro smoker. I love my marijuana intake. Just well, they don't have a dispensary out here in England, but I have ways. But in Spain, they have a dispensary, and I was living my best life, just smoking a pre-roll in the thing. And I love weed, but I know it's like a taboo, like a stigma about it. I know like some people, like I still find like out here, I find like I may be a bit uncomfortable walking around smoking weed, but I'm just like, I don't care. Like you go smell this good stuff, whether you like it or not. Cause I got to smell your cigarette smoke. So you got to smell my weed smoke. But why do you think it's like that stigma? Cause you both are, positive intakers of it. Why do you think it's that stigma?
Do you want
Yeah,
me?
well, I mean, I have a theory, but do you want to go first or?
Sure. So for me, I feel like we all know that everything's distorted, and things are things that are helpful are stigmatized in general as well. Like in the sense of like my lifestyle and like hippy dippy and woo woo, it's becoming popular and whatnot now. But I think that there's a hold on it. Like the insurances still don't cover holistic healing. So there's
Yep.
still a massive, so as far as like society's rules on what is normal, I just think they keep us super in shame. And I think it makes it to where the easiest thing you can get is alcohol. Like and alcohol can be used in, I heard someone say alcohol is very vulnerable to experience with someone. And I'm like, yes, that's it. It's actually should be sacred. And they made that shit be like, lose your inhibitions with everybody. And like,
Yep.
and it's like, that's not how it's supposed to be. If you're drinking wine with somebody, like, because I'm really not anti anything in that sense. Because
Yeah.
no, I'm not doing all these, but like back to the marijuana, it's like I think that marijuana, it's a tool that releases emotional resistance. Like I find it helps me there's a good and a bad. Of course, there's indulgence and whatnot, but yeah, I think that's not to drag on. I think that's why I think it's just been stigmatized, and it's that good or bad and punishment programming we've been in for so long, and like, oh, you're rebelling, you're doing something like that. But socially acceptable as fuck to be an alcoholic, and that has definitely touched. And at least in North America, everybody I know, like for the most part, I'm sure there's not, but my life personally, been very affected by alcohol and alcoholism.
Oh, facts. Same here.
But luckily, I was raised, my stepdad's Canadian and my mom's really awesome. So I was never personally shamed for that, which is nice. But I feel more shame from it on a societal where I'm like, oh, I'm a mother. And, I should feel bad that I'm burnt out, and this makes me like have some release and just okay.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I resonate with so much of what you said, Steph. And I'm just thinking, I think part of the stigma comes from like, we don't understand, like, it's like we're collectively not allowed to like understand the spiritual aspects of the medicine. Like, that's been so lost. So, like, that awareness isn't even part of our conversation. So it's kind of like, yeah, we have this false societal programming where it's like it's either a good or bad thing. That false split duality where it's like cannabis is actually like it's a spiritual medicine, and if you know how to use it, like it has so many health benefits. Like it really does. Like it's so, I feel like it's like on my heart to be an advocate for it. Like
Yeah.
spirit, like the spirit in it. And it's like, yeah, if people aren't aware of that, or if they don't have that awareness, yeah, then it can be used negatively and it can have negative consequences as well. So it's like, absolutely. But I feel like because we're not having that conversation, we are only seeing like the negative. So
Yeah.
it's like, oh, if you do that, that's the risk. And it's like, yeah, maybe in some cases, but what if we have the awareness of this medicine, of this spiritual reality of
Hmm.
the plant world? So very excited to be having this conversation because yeah, I think specifically marijuana is so helpful for healing the nervous system, healing the psyche. I think it has both psychological and physical
Oh yeah.
benefits, like absolutely, with like no negative side effects. Like
I don't have
I've
any
never
negative
had
side effects.
yeah. Whereas alcohol, like I don't like to drink very much, or if I do, I like to drink intentionally,
Yeah.
you know,
Right.
for the taste and the experience. But like, yeah, I don't just personally physically, like I just feel my
To,
body's like,
to
oh, like
me, alcohol,
so,
like you're
all the
saying,
kids.
so yeah, not to interrupt, I'm like, but it's very like a sacred thing. That's got to be really worth it.
Hmm. I
Yeah.
agree. With because I've never met like somebody who's like I have no, actually, I think it affects everybody differently. I have a buddy who when he does smoke and he feels like panicky and anxiety. Maybe it's just
Yeah.
not, maybe it's just
It's
not for
not
you.
for everybody.
Yeah. For me,
No.
Yeah.
I love it. After a
And
long day, I love it.
yes, and I think that's what should be honored is that like not everybody's medicines are the same. And
Hmm.
the only times I feel bad when I'm smoking weed is when I know I'm in a state of avoidance with myself. And that's
Mm.
not going to help. Like, I'm
Oh,
like,
I feel
great,
that.
I'm still, but it's like, it's because it's something deeper. That's like, because I'm like, okay, no, you know, for a fucking fact right now, Stephanie, like, it's like,
That's
you
real.
need to face some deep feelings versus like thinking like, oh, but then sometimes like, I smoked right before this because I was like, I know that I want to like, and it wasn't like, oh, I'm getting ripped and all this. I, smoked my little bowl, did my little like 4 or 5 hit, just like, I don't know. I feel like I smoke
Yeah.
weed girl wise or something where it's like just cute little, I don't sit and do it a long time and I get this nice little high feeling, I just know that
Yeah.
like my fairy Gemini energy is activated. Like I get to, hi, it just lightens me when I'm doing it. And it's different vibes because sometimes I'm like, I want to get high and dance. And
Oh
it's all, like,
yeah.
we got it. And I think it comes back to, yeah, it's not black and white, even with our own relationships to it.
Hmm. I agree. I agree. It's just a beautiful thing. It's honestly beautiful. I prefer it over the consumption aspect of alcohol. I was talking to my wife about this. Shout out to you, baby, if you're listening to this episode in real time. That I prefer weed over alcohol. But then she'll call me out and say, "Well, you drink too." I'm like, mm. But it's the best combo is weed and wine. I love that combination. It's nice. But if you have a long day, hit the bowl, hit the blunt. If you want to just dance, hit the bowl, hit the blunt, hit the pin. Life is good. Vibe out. Who cares?
It's a
Yeah.
vibe.
It's a vibe. Now, I want to get into some nitty-gritty. Now, I want to talk about creating a space for the divine feminine. I feel like that's so important. And I know both of you are advocates of this. And I know that whoever's listening, I know would help a lot of people. You might hear my cat at night. She's being needy right now. But I know that it's a lot of women and probably men too who just need to just how to create a safe space for the divine feminine or what the divine feminine needs. So I just want you guys to talk about that for me.
Well, can I just say something?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So nice for a man to be asking that to a woman.
See,
That's,
this all be coming together.
yeah, it is. It's the coming together. Sarah, would you like to start or however?
Yeah. Yeah, my heart is, I was just like, oh, like,
I know that's how I felt. That's why I was like, can I just say that's
yeah, can I just take a
really
minute?
beautiful. Men,
Yeah.
this is an understanding that like the women, like we want that. We want to be understood so bad
Aw.
for sure. It's like you hit our hearts and we're like, yeah, that's absolutely it.
Yeah. Yeah. I just, when you ask that, it's like, oh, just asking that like opened up space, right? Like, yeah, my heart felt very warmed by that. Um, what does the feminine need? I feel like we just need I'm hearing the word tenderness.
Mm-hmm.
Um, because I feel the collective feminine body of consciousness, like the waters haven't been able to flow, right? Like if that's one way to look at the inverted matrix world, whatever thing that we're burning down with the fire of love in our hearts. The waters haven't been able to flow. And that's true for all of us.
Mm-hmm.
But for the feminine specifically, like we set the tone, we carry that emotional, just tonal quality that's just part of our design. And because none of us have been free, right? And so we haven't been free to express like the depths of what we're feeling when we're feeling it. And the feminine essence is a living Steph, I'm thinking of you have a tweet or a post. Oh, I can't remember the exact words now, but something about like the divine feminine neither like waits or rushes. She just like moves with the moment, and she's
She
like
is.
always in tune with the living now. And that's living embodied, right? Right.
Right.
That's living at the 0 point. And so in order to like really body your truth as a sovereign cosmic being, which is what we're here to do, yeah, the feminine especially, she has to be free to flow and feel and be in her intuitions and her feelings. And yeah, we haven't had space for that. No one's had space for that. And the feminine is feeling it like so intensely. Like she tends to just like feel it more because we're just so tapped into the feeling realm. And so yeah, I just feel we need space where we know we can just feel. And it's like, and then we'll maybe talk about solutions or something, right? But I
Yeah.
think first, like the feminine just needs to feel held again. She needs to remember in her body
Mm-hmm.
what it is like. And this is, we each have this responsibility to repair that relationship within ourselves. But it's like, yeah, to start to experience that inner reparation of union manifest outer in community, it's like, yeah, we need to just know that we're held again, like held in our community spaces, like held by our brothers on this path, right? Like held by everyone. I think it starts there, and then that security is just going to like naturally radiate out. So it's like, I think that we just need space to have conversations with
Yeah.
no judgment, like loving witness, like discerning. And we're not here to express these things to create any more negative timelines. It's like we are creating a sacred alchemical container where whatever needs to be witnessed and felt and expressed can finally be released and transformed. And like
Yeah.
that's feel that, like I can just like can we just
Take it
and
in.
just and then to start being able to radiate that. Like women specifically, we are designed to just radiate our
Mhm.
essence, right? Like to radiate the essence of life. Like that's that's the muse, right?
Mhm.
And I'm so big on the muse. I didn't say any of the things that I really do, but I have Diary of a Muse as my Patreon, where I go so deeply into so much of this, because like it's not just about physical appearance. Like the emanation of our radiance, which manifests as our outward expression, like it's just so core and fundamental to who we really are. And that comes from like that's that inner beauty that comes from that feeling of being held by life, by God, by yourself, and by others. And yeah, I could go on and on, but it's like, even like it's almost like I can't stop talking, because it's like, oh my gosh, someone's finally listening. Like you're just listening,
No,
and it
this is
feels so good. This is what we
keep it
need.
coming. Keep
Like,
it coming.
so yeah, I will pass it over to you, Steph.
Yeah. No, I wanted you to keep it going because
Yeah.
he asked the question. Mine is so just straight to the point. I'm like, what does the feminine need? Truth and safety. Because that
Mm,
is the 0 point.
Mm-hmm.
Because the woman, she is to be protected. And if there is deceit, she is her flow, her force is it's going where it's not supposed to go.
Mm-hmm.
She needs truth and safety so that her energy goes to herself healthy, and she has these healthy connections, because we're so taken away from the bare minimum of relating to one another, especially among the sexes. You know what I mean? It's like truth and safety, like show who you are so she is not fucking blindsided, and she can do what's right for her, and she can flow where she needs to. She can feel whatever loss she needs to feel in order to get into that next space. It's no big deal to the feminine. Like you said about my tweet, the feminine neither rushes nor waits. She's receptive, she's receiving. The egg doesn't choose the sperm. The egg chooses what sperm to let in. I mean, it gets down to biology. So yeah, to me, truth and safety and that relating, like that needs to be the baseline. Because okay, so maybe you're not first, maybe everybody's not, but based on their values, that person's not safe for me. You know what I mean? Like that's fine. It doesn't need to be judgment, but people can be redirected to their flow, so they're aligning with who, what, where is for them.
But like you said, give me the truth so that I can make
exactly.
I'm right.
I'm
okay.
Head on. Don't waste the feminine space. She pours, she amplifies. The feminine, see, I feel it in my solar. Like the feminine has been siphoned. That's the inversion. We've been siphoned by this distorted masculine. So no, the baseline. If you're a damn freaking wolf and not a sheep, be the damn wolf. That's fine.
But it's let me know you're the wolf.
Just don't pretend you're a damn sheep to me.
How does that impact you though? So let's say somebody come to you as a sheep in wolf's clothing. I think I'm saying that right. And then the wool gets pulled out, and then you're like, oh, ta-da, this is who I really am. How does that affect that space, that nurture, that safety that you all were talking about?
It's just like a pollutant. It's like a pollutant to that space. I mean, and then, you end up, you're bonding with people, and a lot of us are healing our dysfunctional relationships with our parents. And so, I mean, I think that is like the bait and switch thing that's kind of common and superficial relating. But based on, like, for me, based on my trauma, it's like, well, I had to basically research energies. What is healthy masculine? What is like a good man? Like I never seen a healthy relationship. So I think there's just a lot of like, because women, we're the open space, right? So men, it's just energetic wise, they're the positives, they're the hunters. So if the hunter is like going and being like, oh, I'm gonna match this, and it puts it in a kind of hunting prey dynamic then versus a more of a leader fall, and it's not fall, I don't know, it's actual masculine.
You can be the leader, but also still have or like holding that nurturing space. So like for example, if the missus if the missus needs me to not come at her aggressive, well, I might not see it as aggressive. I need to look at it from her perspective. I need to create a safe space where you be like, okay, I hear you. X, Y, and Z, X, Y, and Z. I think that's important though, because I feel like most times in masculinity, we're met with ego with our perceptive. But I will give my wife credit because she has really got me into my heart space and made me see things from the feminine perspective. So shout out to you, babe. I know you're listening.
Yeah, shout out to Chelsea.
She's smiling right now.
I love her so much. I do.
Aww.
But it's true though, because like you think of the traditional role, so it's like the man goes and hunt and they provide, and it's like this is the law, this is what I say. But then like you said, you're not creating a space to where it's like, okay, maybe I was angry at you today because I wanted chocolate, and you didn't hear me out to understand why I was angry, and I was angry because I just needed chocolate, and you listening to me made me realize I just wanted chocolate. Thanks for creating a safe space, like just little stuff like that.
Yeah, I think when we get back to relating, it's going to be really getting to the simple things, really seeing and hearing and understanding one another.
How do you balance that on like for example, X, Twitter? Do you feel like you always have the space to where you can just be safe? Like I know it might be certain things you post where you might have like the oddball being a doofus, but for the most part, like, do you feel like, okay, I've created this space to where I can just be soft and in my feminine unapologetically?
Do you want to answer, Sarah?
Yeah. That's such an interesting question. I'm gonna say no. I don't feel safe to I don't feel safe to really express myself on Twitter. That's why, like, I don't really spend that much time there. I mean, I enjoy checking in and like
Yeah.
I really enjoy being connected with those of you who I love our little we just have this little uh uh energetic vortex, it feels like, and I'm
Hmm.
inspired. But yeah, it doesn't feel like a space where I can really show up and flower. Part of that is intuitive. Like I over the
Yeah.
years I've really learned like how valuable my essence is. Like,
Oh yeah.
and this isn't in a like arrogant, I'm so great, you have to pay to see me sort of way, but like on a deep, like, oh, when I express my soft feminine expression, which is going to be vulnerable, it's going to be raw and tender and honest. It's like when you get to the center of the rose, it's like there's no
Mhm.
masks. This is who I really am. And, in a digital space with no control over who's viewing it, if you're just
Yeah.
public posting, that soft expression can be like, I mean, it gets siphoned from you, right? Because if it's not received, if it's not felt, if people aren't receiving that through their heart, if they're not in tune with the frequency of the divine feminine,
Mhm.
yeah, and it gets very, that's lots of psychological and spiritual warfare happens in the digital space, with that. And so yeah, over the years I've just really come to learn how valuable my essence is. Like and I love sharing my art. I do, I am still an artist on some level, even though it's like, what art am I making anymore? Because it's like the whole life is art now, right? Like,
Yeah, true.
um moving so beyond like labels and identities. But yeah, it was something else I was going to say about the feminine. It's such a good question. Yeah, and so yeah, this has inspired so many of my visions for just how we can do things differently, how we can build technological infrastructures that honor the
Yeah.
expression, the life force of the muse. Like for real, when I'm sharing, my art, my poetry, photography, self-portraiture, like I realized these are expressions of my soul. Like this is sacred and it's not just for anyone. It's really not. And so it's not only I don't feel safe there, it's like I don't even, it goes beyond that even of like, I need more. Like now that I
Yeah.
know who I really am, like more. And it's kind of like, yeah, maybe I would have more followers if I was able to post more and stuff, but it's like, I just can't. Like, I
Can't
just
force
can't.
it.
So that's where I have my Patreon, Diary of a Muse. That's where I feel safe. And even there, I'm not sharing. I still have so much privacy in my life, but that has made me feel really safe as like I get to choose what I'm sharing with who. Everyone here is intentional. They want to be here. They value me. They appreciate me, and then it makes it even more fun. Then I'm like inspired to create art for the people
Mhm.
who are like appreciating it and inspiring it. And so for me, yeah, it's like smaller audiences, high quality collaborative relationships with the people who are viewing your art. And all of that has come from me exploring like who is the feminine, what are her qualities, how am I being called to honor and embody the essence of her within myself. So yeah, thank you for this, I mean, beautiful question, because this is like big stuff where it's like, if we can really start to get into this nitty gritty and understand who we really are,
Mhm.
what kind of a world will we build when we understand who we are?
Yeah.
We'll figure it out. Well, this is the world we're going to build because this is what we need, because now we know who we are. So it really does start here with these conversations. So yeah, thank you so much.
Or what now I'm not kind of curious. Oh, and Stephen, if you wanted to chime in on that, feel free.
Um, so I know that me and Sarah have both very much cultivated to where we live very feminine, slow lives. Like we pretty much So like how she said, like life is art. And like to me, I don't feel any, I don't have a deep emotional charge with it like I used to. And for me now, it's more of a like, oh, I
Wait,
love these song lyrics. I want to post. You know what I mean? I honestly have like regressed back to like how my emo 16-year-old self would be like, this is my MySpace song. And I'll be like, oh
yeah.
God, listen to this
Yes.
song, you guys. Like, I love this. You know, like I really have a kind of lighthearted, yeah, you kind of have
Tumblr
to because
teen.
Yeah, you have to.
I call it
we're
Tumblr teen heart.
it's Tumblr Teen Heart, yes. And I downloaded Tumblr recently because I was like, should I just get a Tumblr again and make
Do it.
pretty poems? And I mean, I
We need to
know I
put that on
won't,
a
but
t-shirt.
I was thinking, I was like, we had all connected before, like we're like kind of like old school Twitter group, so it's just like the vibe. It's the internet is so much more polluted on every level. Like, I mean, I'm gonna say it like the PORN bots, everything. It's like most of my
Oh
notifications are
God.
that on Twitter and stuff like that. So it's like, you know what? I'm just gonna get on here and be like the silly self I want to be. Or like even if I'm emo, like, oh, this deep gut wrenching truth.
And it's not that pressure, like you, because it may be some tweets where you just want to be like your goofy, just childlike emo self, where it's like unapologetic, and then it's that other side is like, but this isn't spiritual. Like, no, forget that. This
yeah,
isn't.
see, that's what I broke up with.
Yeah.
I like have weight and
Yeah.
oh, you know, in my household we celebrate Star Wars so much, but I'm like, yeah, I
Oh, I
want
love
to
Star
see
Wars.
funny little things and just have it be more celebrating beyond my circle and just like the things in this world that are cool. Like there is good being created. It's like, why can we not just like be collectively celebrating art
Yeah.
and characters and character development? And oh my gosh, like how, you know, there's these storylines. It's the same as mythology, archetypes, everything else is these energetic expressions.
Mhm.
So yeah, to me, do I feel safe on anywhere on the internet? No.
No, not at all.
No, not at all. And especially for women. I mean, my mother, I know she gets messages. She gets more. She gets a lot of messages. Like, so I'm just like, I don't think any women, and she's of course beautiful and everything, but I don't.
That's a
When I hear
problem.
things, I'm like, wow, there's no age limit. There's no age limit to the
I
fuckery.
I do think sometimes I do think like some of the people they can't be real. Some of the comments like you would probably send to like a woman. I'm like, would you say this to your mom? Like, like that's
Oh God, let's hope not.
God. But it's just like the absurdness of it. But I think it doesn't help too, like with media's portrayal of divine feminine as like this certain thing, and then yeah.
That's it. The objectification of woman. I
It's,
mean, it's our cage.
but then at the same time, okay, surely you can't just have that limit. It's like I really do feel because like the fact that somebody can like drive by and just like whistle at you and like think that's like, oh, that's gonna get their attention. I'm like, are you stupid? Like, why would they give you the time of day?
Yeah. I had a woman had reposted something on Twitter and it said, why do men why do women give people fake numbers? And it's like, why do men not accept when you tell them no? And I'm like, literally, that's happened to me last
That's
summer.
mind-boggling to me.
Like, it's like, oh, why not? The guy's like, you got like too many kids. I don't know. He was saying like, oh, you got like a man, you got like
You hurt his ego.
your baby, because he thought I had a child. He's like, your baby daddy. I'm just like, okay, this is too much. Like, why do I owe you my number, sir?
Why do I owe you this explanation too at the
I
same
literally
time?
just walked past you at this freaking block party where I'm trying to celebrate a good time with my community and have a good, you know what I mean? It's just like the
Mhm.
audacity to go up to people like that and be like, so it's like, yeah, women do have to give you fake numbers. And that's the sad part. We're not living in a woman safe world.
I agree. I agree. It's
Like,
I don't that it do irritates me because now it just because I do wonder that I guess it's like the entitlement, the masculine ego. I don't even know how to describe it. I personally think it's stupid when I see certain things. And I'm like, where's the respect aspect of it? Just just human decency. Like
I was
I
gonna
think
say social
some
decency.
is just like and then even too, like you shouldn't have to like fear of giving out a fake number or lying out of the fear of a man retaliating. Like if I told you no, that means no. I don't have to owe you explanation. Leave me alone.
Why would a man want a number of a woman that doesn't want to give it to him is beyond me. It's like, dude, you
So
need to get some self-esteem and
I
leave women alone until you do.
I think of that social rejection. There was like, oh, she rejected me. Now my ego's hurt. Like, no, this.
Well, and then they're coming back at me like, oh, there must be because you with your baby dad. And it's like, dude, I have like a 6-year-old too. It's just like, come on, like, what are you doing? Like, why are you trying to like, oh, make up some story to make yourself feel better? It's like, no, I don't know you. I don't want to know you. I don't
It's just as
like,
clear as that.
I'm literally like just I think I was waiting for my son to get back from the bathroom or something. It was just something or cleaning up trash. It was just something like mundane I was doing where I'm like, I'm not asking for anything by
Yeah.
existing. Like, you know what I mean? I'm like, no, I don't need to explain to you why I don't feel like giving some random you a phone number, but it's so common.
What do you guys think as the divine, like what divine men need, what men need to do to usher in this new era? Because right now we're on that timeline. But as the guys listening, what do you ladies need? What that we're not getting?
I'm just gonna speak from my heart and
Please.
say I need men to know how much we really love and need and desire them. And that has been so lost. That fundamental relationship between the feminine and the masculine has been so, so broken and so lost all through, spiritual warfare. And we can trace it all back. But it's been so lost that we don't even know what we need from each other. We don't even know who each other are because we don't know who we are, right? Like we're
Mhm.
on this journey of remembrance. And so,
Mhm.
yeah, I think a lot of the reason that, women have had experiences like you just described, Steph, is because the men don't know, they don't even know who we are and what they could possibly really offer us. And so I
Mhm.
think they're just sort of like blindly following, I don't know, weird programmed instincts, societal, like who knows, right? Like, and
I think it's very
so
superficial.
yeah, do you say superficial?
Yeah, I think it's just very superficial.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like
I'd hit that. I'm gonna go ask for that number. It's like I don't
yeah,
see any
and
other.
there's so much
Yeah.
programming of like, this is how yeah, yeah. So, yeah, like we need men to show up as they really are.
Mhm.
We don't need you to perform for us.
Mhm.
We don't need you to be anything other than here present in your heart. Like honestly, honestly. And for the women who are ready for that, right? Like
Yeah.
some people aren't ready for this. But those of us who are ready for this, it's like just me speaking. I just show up. I just want to meet you. I just want to meet you at this threshold of love. Like let's repair that bridge. Let's repair that communication. And so I really mean that. I really mean that.
Steph, but before you answer that, I thought to start off this thought like, you know how it's like some I don't want to say some, it's I guess it's, oh, well, I'll say it, let me stop being politically correct. There's some women out there who are like, I want that, but then they don't hold that energetic space for themselves to be in alignment. So you can say, oh, I want a person who's soft, tender, etc., etc. But when you do get that, it's kind of like you reject it because that's not, what you truly want in like in a programmable way. Um, do you think that this question for you both? Do you think that can also play a role in receiving?
Women are just as dysfunctional as men too. I mean, not saying like as far as like the ways we're relating to each other, they just play out in different ways. I think women kind of go from a space of like validation, and you know, it's a very those old programs like he's the one and this, and like that's gonna be like the fairy tale, you know, this makes me like I'm chosen. And versus, and I think there's a lot of love bombing. That's why I said I think you can't really
Oh.
say one without the other. I think it's just dysfunctional dynamics, because then
Mm-hmm.
you've got these men love bombing, future faking, just bullshitting, and you've got a woman who like the daddy issues, which like I have, which I've, it's like you don't know what a healthy man is, you just are like flopping around this, like as far as like the feminine so soft, it's just this like soft energy, it's so unguarded, it's in this world being like I want safety, I want this, and all you
Mm-hmm.
know is dysfunction. So I mean,
Wow.
I think it's a both ways thing, and they feed each other.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that there's good guys that get hurt, and I think that there's good women that get hurt. I think
Mm-hmm.
it's, then there's their own individual, like there's just toxic ass people,
Yeah.
toxic men and women, there really is. So um and then to loop to what you had said, what do we need from men? I mean, I think it literally is coming back to like reconstructing. And Sarah, everything you said, it hit my heart, and I could feel my eyes just welting, and the woman being validated. It's like, yeah, that's what we want. We want to
Mm-hmm.
actually connect to man's heart, and not just be, women are typically feeling like emotionally alone, you
Mm-hmm.
know, like they're like wanting that, they're wanting to be like, oh, he doesn't even care. That's always like what women say.
Yeah.
And it's just that men and women do operate differently, and that's why we need each other. You know, we're speaking traditional, like throw the politically
Yeah,
correct out
there,
the
yeah,
window.
yeah, yeah.
You know, we need each other because we have these things that the other doesn't have, and we bring out things in the others that the other one doesn't have.
Thousand
It's two
percent.
different magics. Like you can't even, you know, because I'm very feminine, and I know
Mm-hmm.
Sarah's very feminine, and we commit to this feminine life, and it's not the, because you can't sell your soul out and be like, we're gonna just like work and just do the thing. Like we don't have the
Yeah.
energy. Like we're in our feminine energy, so we have to do what's real, which is, you know,
Mhm.
emotional processing, creating, like being in my
Mm-hmm.
body, like listening to myself, connecting with my sisters, like
Mm-hmm.
nourishing, mothering, you know, all the aspects. So yeah, what do women need? We do. I go with Sarah. We want to meet them in the heart.
Don't you think it's interesting too that when
Mhm.
you say meeting at the heart, that's when the childlike energy fully comes out and you both are able to play. I think that's so beautiful.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a vulnerable space.
It's so beautiful because for a child to trust you, because a child isn't very trusting until like you can, they can pick up on energy if you do something that they like, it's gonna be a clear energetic difference. And it's the same way when you're an adult, and it's just creating that space for you both to just operate in your childlike energy, and it's just beautiful. You just like this dance, this
Mm.
God's God is dancing with itself. It's a beautiful, beautiful poetry.
Mm. Yeah, it's so beautiful. It's so natural, right? Like that's
Mhm.
it's actually it's part of our just innate design as cosmic human beings. Like, and it is cosmic, right? It is, that's why it's
Yeah.
magical, because you start to really tap into how life force actually flows, and there is a divine architecture of this feminine and masculine union. And so to be able to bring that fully into our relationships, like that's how I used, like, you want to change the world, like we gotta bring the love back, for real in every way.
Mhm.
This ties into a manifesting question. How so obviously to see the change, you have to be the change. That's cliche as it is. Um I often find when I have certain conversations, like the limiting belief behind, okay, this thought creates that reality. I'm curious from you both perspective. Why do you think it's so difficult? Not even say difficult, that's the wrong word, challenging for most to grasp the concept like, hey, I create this. Like, yeah, I might have not created this person breaking my heart or X, Y, and Z, but in some way, some vibration, something, I allowed this, and it's not even about this like heartbreak, just in general, but I allowed this to happen. Why do people have that struggle with accountability in their reality?
You want me to go?
Go ahead.
Alrighty.
Yeah, go ahead, Steph.
I think until you really meet yourself, though, you are the victim.
Mm.
And so you're only going to keep learning that lesson over and over again. Because until you be accountable and you realize that, oh, wow, I was a vibrational match to all this. But people get stuck because they judge themselves and they get shameful and they're like, oh my gosh. And I mean, it's hard. I feel compassion for this role 24/7. I think it's why I cry so much. I'm a projector, so is Sarah. We're the emotional fluid of the world, and I think we transmute a lot. And some people are just freaking compassionate, and
Protect those
it's
people
hard.
at all costs.
What was that?
I said protect those people at all costs.
Yeah, please, we're soft. But it's hard when you don't want to see your part because it's like, man, like, well, when you're in dysfunctional relationships, it's like, then you're not having your best side come out either. And, of course, say the other person is the more extreme one and you're able to, say baselines of things and you are more healthy than the other person, but you still don't want to see your role that you took in it. You know what I mean? Then you're going to like hit a glass ceiling of really how much you're going to meet yourself, but we don't meet ourselves with compassion in those moments. Typically people that do get stuck in this, they're judging themselves, they're in shame, they're avoidant, like, and people can bury things away too. We all operate differently. I cannot do that, but some people, they can just cut it off, move on, but they're still going to meet the same lesson over and over again because you're always going to line up with what you're a vibrational match to.
Oh, that
That's
was
just
me.
real.
That was old Richard, 1000%, 1000%. And then, like you touch upon, you're gonna meet different versions, and not even romantically. It could be friendship, it could be a coworker, it could be a random person on the street. That version of you is gonna be reflected in some way, and it's funny too because it triggers you. Like, oh, I'm really upset about that, but it's like you're looking at yourself, so you're kind of upset about yourself a little bit.
And we can go through things where it's like, yeah, that person does suck. And you did get yourself in the situation and they can still suck.
Yep,
You
and
know what
that's
I mean?
okay.
It's fine for them to just be like, that person's toxic, in the sense of it being like, I don't know, because we don't want to get lost into like, everybody's a mirror. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I agree. Some people just suck.
Yeah, the compassion for self, the relieving the shame. And if you really do still we can't be fake. If you don't like somebody, you don't like somebody. Like I would be in therapy and I'd be saying like, I'm supposed to see my exes as God's children. She's like, you can see them as God's children and also like unhealthy, but that's like my own
No,
where
I
I'm just, oh, everybody is a reflection and I'm supposed to see the good because then that's the reflection of my good. And then sometimes a spade is a spade. And that's just that.
Yeah, I'm gonna chime in and say, like, my understanding on this has really evolved as I've realized, like, only God can reflect our true nature, and everyone on this planet right now, we're figuring out, like, we're all returning to that within ourselves, right? So
yeah,
I don't even know anymore what I think about all of those particular things, but it's like,
I
yeah,
don't
our true
either.
identity is beyond, I think, what anyone can fully reflect back at us, So I think it's a holographic like principle that people get into where and there is some truth to like there is truth to the inner and outer mirroring, like absolutely. But yeah, I think people get caught up in like
Yeah.
it's almost like if there's still patterns of black and white thinking, it's like applying it to every situation when it's like it depends on the context of what you're going through. Is this what's helpful right now, or do I need to just like tend to my heart and just be with my emotions and not try to like figure out how I like was respond because sometimes we're not it's interesting, it's like we have the power to
Yeah.
shift anything once we become aware of it, but I'm gonna say too, there's a lot of spiritual warfare out there, and we're not responsible for that. Like
Yeah.
we're not responsible for being
That's what I was
targeted
trying
by
to say.
negative,
Victimization
you
is
know.
a thing.
So it is a
Yeah. Victim
yeah,
is real. I mean, that's why I'm a violence advocate because it's like
yeah,
when you are in those stages, you are, and you have to honor the stages of being a victim and being like, wow. And then you dig your way through, you dig your way through and you see how it cycles to break. You know, that's why I'm like, I always have a hard, like Sarah, I think with that hard time thing, it's like, because victimization is very real. And, you know, people that are like advocates hearts, you know, we're like, yes, but we still gotta, you know, honor that. But then on that path, you help them, like advocacy, you help them walk through their darkness to step into empowerment. But sometimes like people, like I love the shelter work. It's so emotional because, you know, you're with somebody at that like bridge, and it's like, you know, when you're telling this person like, you know, that they're getting a chance to break cycles and love themselves and choose better, like it's true. And we actually get that chance all every day. You know, it's just these violent acts and stuff are concentrated forms of dysfunction for sure, which need our complete absolute love and attention, attention from society.
Thank you for being vulnerable and sharing that stuff.
Yeah, it just hit my heart because I'm like, you know, I get frustrated when people will be like, oh, don't play the victim, you create your own reality. And I'm like, well, things are more gray, but you know, I'm very big on honoring where it's like, no. And ultimately we are all victims. We are all, none of us didn't be a victim of these programs. That's just the world we were born into. That's why we're all fucking badass warriors for coming to our hearts in a world that just wants to take us away from it.
Yeah. I think I struggle with, not even struggle, like you mentioned, Sarah, it's like, it's not black and white anymore. It's just like, I don't even know what it is. I find I have to like practice this, especially like in the workforce. Because like see the divinity in others, right? Or see the divinity in a situation. It's like if I don't freaking like you, I'm gonna honor that you are just a part of this journey, and I'm gonna, you know, show love. But I don't like you, and that's okay for me not to like you.
Personal preference is totally a valid thing. And everybody just plays their role. And I'm just like, yeah, your role doesn't vibe with my world. You know, it's just like you let people be.
But I wanted to, it's just this whole God dream is just it's a mind fuck sometimes. It's a mind fuck.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like that's what it is to like really have your mind renewed in Christ, right? Like just eternal renewal, which is living heart centered. And I love talking about this. I love that you brought this up, Rich, because it's real. It's real, like, in that we're actually living through our own evolution as humans. And yet that evolution is also just an embodiment of our original design. And so it is such an exciting time. And this isn't just about a spiritual awakening, it is about the spiritualization of the human form. And there's a whole process, and the renewal of the mind and the dropping of the mind into the heart is such a big part of that. Like it really, really is, because you're opening up to just higher frequencies of communication, right? Like we really are. This is happening, and this is so far beyond, like this is happening for humanity. We're all, look, the heart is coming back online. Our heart is our true, like you know, Stargate navigation system. And so like, yeah, sometimes when you realize like what's happening, it is, your mind can't comprehend it, but that's okay. Your mind doesn't need to comprehend it, right? Like we're learning what is the mind's proper place, because everything has been so overly mental, right? And so yeah, we are coming back to that balance. So yeah, I love that you brought that up. And it's important to talk about, because it's like, yeah, it's like a change, like it's like your internal experience of reality is changing. And if you just start talking about that, and people don't have the context, or they don't have an experience of it, like, yeah, you sound like you're just off the walls, you know? And so
Yeah.
it is really important to have these conversations and to share with each other like what we're going through, because it's a very real process, and I think we're meant to support each other through that, you know, and stabilize all of these very real changes taking place. It just excites me so much because I'm like, guys, this is real. Like and I've always said that there's a science to this. Like, yeah, it's spiritual, but from the beginning, I'm like, this is also science. Like, it's not just another spiritual idea or religious movement. Like, this is happening at a subatomic level in our own bodies. Like, that was my first, I would say, like, mind, like, cosmic download like the first time I was like, this is what's going on. And it's just so exciting. I mean, it's just so exciting to get to experience the miracle of becoming like who you really are as an expression of divine love. And that's available for everyone. That's what I love talking about. This is not an exclusive path. It's just, people don't know that this is happening. If you don't know that this is happening, it can be very like, and there is a lot of warfare and program that will try to get you to think something else is happening, so you'll keep feeding their system, right? Yeah, so that's why I'm like, no, this is happening. Like, this is happening. Like, you're not alone.
And that's what's important for like these spaces, because if you're listening to this, you're on a timeline. So welcome, welcome, guys. But then too, like I said earlier, to see what you want to be, you have to admit it. And both from our last episodes, just seeing just like the state of you two, or just like the state of like everything that's going on, it's more of coming to self. Yeah, you might have like your little distractions, but forget about those. But the core will come together. Even manifesting this episode, it's gonna help so many people. And like we got so excited when we was having the conversation about having it, and it's like, this is gonna be amazing. And then now it's manifested, and now whoever's listening, it's just that sprinkle effect of the timelines. I'm like, oh, this is truly a God's dream.
I know. And you were like, we planned this a month ago. And I'm like, Richard, this was like last year before you moved and got married. We planned. Yeah. This was an old seed planted, but it's just, Sarah have been connecting, you know, on our own, just really flowing so many ideas. We've opened space for each other to have our random, unpredictable as the is spurts of inspiration, sending each other booty bopping songs and just like and like I know me and Sarah have been doing this for years. And thanks for holding such a nice space where you're asking two women like topics of the feminine, because I do think there just needs to be understanding in both ways. You know, we want to understand both sides. So it's really nice to, as Sarah said with her hypeness that I love so much, these conversations just need to be had and heard for those that they are for.
And this is cool because it's like a time capsule that people can look back on. So it might not, it's going to resonate somewhat now, but it's going to definitely resonate later on. And it's, oh, that's beautiful.
Yep.
I always,
it's just been put out there.
It's just been put out there. I always ask, and I've never done this before, so it's super exciting. I always ask this last question to my guests. Now there's two. What would your message be to humanity during this time?
Do you want me to go?
Go ahead.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna have to pop the cork off and flow because I don't really know. I don't have a specific thing, but I
just flow.
Just flow.
Just want to send just like the biggest wave of love and wash over of, you know, all of us, the world, humanity, and specific, you know, advice or anything. I just really do. I feel like gentleness. I like heard tender when I close my eyes because I'm like, man, can we just soften up on ourselves and on each other? And softening does not mean, you know, no boundaries.
Yeah.
That's far from the truth. But, you know, just letting ourselves be, letting others be. I think there's a lot of right versus wrong in the air, even within spiritual community, and being mad at the world. And, it's just that we're not going to get to integration that way. We're going to get to integration by like compassion, feeling what is real, coming together, being, supported by those that support, that we want to support, mutual relating. So tenderness, waves of love, be easy on yourself. You're doing great.
Thank you for that, Steph.
Yeah, that's so nurturing. Like, I need that message. Like, thank you.
Same.
Because yeah, I'm still working on releasing so much just tension just from the years of just living in a hard world, right? Like your body starts to so yeah, thank you, Steph. Wow. Yeah. I feel like just flowing off of that, like, love is who we really are. And I feel like when we start talking about these things, people tune out, right? Because we have been so programmed to just focus on this one timeline, this one reality. But it's like things are changing, and pretty soon here, no one's going to be able to deny that anymore. So it's like, again, Rich, you said this is like a time capsule. Maybe a year from now, maybe 2 years from now, people will be tuning in and receiving these messages at the exact right time for them, because this love is coming for everyone. Like, because you are love. You were always love. You were never not love. You will never not be love. We're just waking up and casting off all of the spells and shackles and bindings that needed us to forget, because they forgot, right? So yeah, like, it's not just a woo-woo message. Love is the fundamental fabric, like the fundamental essence quality of the source of every particle of your being. And it's like we're purifying, right? We're transforming. Like, this is happening, and you're not alone. And it's like, welcome home, humanity. That's my message. I need to flow to get to that, but like, welcome home. We're taking this planet back. We're transforming it. Like, welcome home. So thank you.
Beautifully,
Thank you so much.
beautifully put. Guys, welcome home if you're listening to this powerful episode. God. I'm excited to see how this continues to manifest and create itself. And I'm super excited about the more spaces that we're gonna hold to usher in this new era. This is only the beginning. And I'm super excited to be on this journey with you guys.
Absolutely.
Guys, as always. Oh, Sarah. I'm sorry, Sarah. Go ahead.
I was gonna say I feel that, and I just wanted to thank you so much, Rich.
Yeah,
it means so much
exactly.
that you held this space for us and invited us in. So much love to you as well.
Thanks.
You guys are awesome. You guys are awesome. This is not gonna be the last one, and I'm excited for many more. Guys, thank you for being on the show. Thank you for whoever's listening. This episode could have been challenging for you or triggering, but thank you for holding the space to receive, and I hope that we created a safe space for you all. And as always, you are the creator of your reality. Everything you think, say, will orchestrate in your reality. Be kind, choose kind thoughts, and be soft and kind to yourself, because God doesn't judge you, so don't judge yourself. It's as simple as that. Thanks for coming, ladies.
You're welcome.